Today I'm going to make a video about sway bar end links for my 2010 Ford Focus. We're going to go over economy slash cheap sway bar end links from Rock Auto. These were about $3.87 each, so less than $8 for a pair. This was in the premium section of Rock Auto. These were $19.99 a piece, or about $40 for a pair. As you can probably tell, you can see which pair I went with first. I went with the premium pair. I bought these to replace my OEM sway bar end links at about 90,000 miles, I believe. If you ever took them off the Ford Focus, the OEMs they're kind of light, kind of flimsy, and they have an issue with the ball socket wearing out, and they just start slapping around. So I replaced them. Well, I liked these. At first, I did. They were heavier. They seemed heavier duty, nicer than the OEM part. But the first thing I didn't like about them, you can see on the end right there, that is solid. You say, well, why does that matter? Well, the OEM part allows you to use a hex head wrench or an Allen head to hold the shaft still as you tighten this down so you can torque it. So I couldn't do that with this one. Instead you have a nub back here. You're able to put a open end wrench on as you tighten this down. The nuts that they came with are actually not the best quality in the inside. They're pretty easy to strip out if you actually try to torque them down to torque specs. I actually had these come loose 2, if not 3 times on me. I started hearing it rattle around. I had to retighten them. About the second or third time I tightened them down, they didn't do it anymore. I don't know if the nut needed to stretch out or what. Well, within about 10,000 miles, I started noticing this awful popping sound, rattling, popping, almost like a bad strut bearing. But that's not what it was. I couldn't really find a noise, so I had my wife turn the steering wheel back and forth, and I started trying to feel different parts of the car and the suspension system, because sometimes it's just a lot easier to actually feel the noise than it is to actually hear where it's coming from, because sound resonates. So I put my hand on the sway bar, and I could, sure enough, that's where it was. This sway bar end link had locked one of the ends up, and it was popping, and it was using the sway bar almost as like an instrument to massively amplify the sound. Now this side was okay. I can kind of move it a little bit with one hand. This one's pretty loose, which is normal as they kind of wear a little bit. That one's a little loose. That wasn't the issue. Like ones that are really loose, when they start slapping around, they just literally can't hold themselves up. They're just toasted. It was this one right here, and you may say, well, man, the boot's tore on that. No, I took the boot off to try to inspect to see what had happened, and everything looked fine. There was still plenty of grease in the inside and everything. But I can't move this with one hand. Like, I need 2 hands to do it. Like, it's completely locked up. The ball and the stud is locked up, and that's what was the issue. Is the car was turning the steering wheel. This wasn't smoothly moving. It was popping, and that sound was transmitting through the sway bar. Like I said, these are 20 bucks a piece, so $40 for a pair. Pretty disappointing. It only lasts 10,000 miles. And you say, man, what about the warranty? Well, here's the thing about Rock Auto. This isn't their fault. They sell the parts, and they have a short warranty that they put on themselves, like 30 days. You can return it. They'll pay for the shipping. Once you go past that, you have to return it through a manufacturer warranty, which you still go through Rock Auto, but you normally have to pay the return shipping fee, but you get a discount. You pay what their shipping rate would be, but you need the original boxes and all that. Of course, I didn't have that. It was just way too much hassle of trying to send these off, and of course, I kind of needed to drive the car, so that doesn't really work either. So there's two-edged sword there, and I really didn't want to order the same part that was going to fail me again. So my brother tends to be on the cheap side. We're a little different when it comes to spending money. He also has a Ford Focus. His is a 2005, which is the same part. I believe the sway bar end links go from 2001 to 2011. He went with a cheaper part. His cheaper part had the hex head on there. He tightened them down. I was there when he tightened them down. They never came loose on them. They didn't have issues. The cheaper part ended up being better than the more expensive part. So what did I do when I ordered replacement sway bar end links for that bad one over there? I went with the cheapest they had $3.87, $20. You think, man, why is this so new and shiny looking? Man, they were so cheap. I said, man, I'm just going to buy 2 sets because, you know, it's Rock Auto. You got to pay for shipping. There's no free shipping. So it just made sense to spend less than basically $8 extra to get a whole second set just to have on hand. That's why reason this is new, because it hasn't been installed. But the other set has. It's been on the car for a while now. I feel like it's been on the car long enough to give a review on it. First thing you'll notice about the cheap set, if you can see that in the camera, there's a hex head in there. You can stick a hex head wrench, which is what I have. I have a socket set, the hex head socket set, or you can use an Allen head to hold it as you tighten this down. This nut actually tightens down better. It has a Lockheed nylon washer in there. I've tightened them down one time on that car. They haven't came loose. Unlike those. Those came loose multiple times. These haven't came loose. I'll show you how they kind of move. They move fairly well. Of course, these are brand new, but that's kind of how it is. No binding issues whatsoever. Both of these are sealed units. I mean, they don't have grease fittings on them. But you can kind of see that's $3.97 versus $20. So, do you always get what you pay for? I must say so, not so with parts. I'm not necessarily going to go over the brand of what these are because I actually checked today. I wanted to give y'all as a price up to date because prices change. They do clearances and things like that. But both these brands are not on there anymore. Brands come and go in Rock Auto all the time. But basically, these would be in the premium section of Rock Auto. This is in the economy section of Rock Auto. So maybe if you have an older car and you're like, man, I just got to keep this thing on the road, want to fix it, save money, just go with the cheap part. And sometimes you're going to be perfectly okay. And honestly, this cheap part has been better than the more expensive part. I just wanted to make this video to, you know, try to help some people save some money and realize that, you know, sometimes it's okay to buy cheap parts and sometimes they perform just fine. And these have performed absolutely just fine. This is definitely lighter than this. This has nicer metal and all that, but it doesn't matter. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and this does work, and that's the whole point. The only tip I'll give you about installing sway bar end links, there's tons of videos out there on that, is make sure you replace them in pairs. You should replace suspension components in pairs unless you're like super cast strapped. You gotta save every dime you can. You should really replace stuff in pairs on the suspension. And also, you want to jack up the car. Obviously, supportive jack stands for safety, but have both front tires off the ground. Don't do it one side at a time like that, because if one tire is on the ground and one tire is in the air, when you remove the one sway bar on one side, the sway bar is going to pull up on itself, and things are just not going to go together right. So make sure both front tires are off the ground. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody save some money, and y'all have a good day.